The Common Core State Standards were developed in collaboration with many leaders in education. They promote equity and rigor in education. Too often we hear, these kids can't do this or these kids can do that. Sure, kids come to school with different needs, but this should not impact our expectations for them, only the path to those expectations. Some students will not reach their full potential as adults, but it would be an egregious mistake to think we can predict which ones will and will not get there, and prematurely settle for less from them. The Common Core Standards set a national benchmark for student expectations. Expectations can no longer vary by zip code, income, or background.
So how did KCKPS decide to adopt the Common Core Standards?
In KCKPS, we didn't ever blindly accept the standards. We began studying them in spring of 2011. Over the past 2 years, cadres of grade-level teachers have studied the standards and consistently found them to be an improvement. This year, KCKPS completely adopted the Common Core Standards.
Great. But I've been teaching them since the beginning of the year and I still don't feel like I know what I'm doing.
We all might feel that way for a while. It helps to know how they are structured. The literacy standards organized into 6 domains: reading literature, reading informational text, language, listening and speaking, writing, and reading foundations. Each domain is divided into different categories of standards. For example, within the reading literature standards, the categories are key ideas and details, craft and structure, integration of knowledge and ideas, and range of text. It's important to notice the categories because they can have an impact on the meaning of the standard. For example, if the standards mention character and key ideas and details, then the focus is probably on understanding the character. However, in craft and structure, it would be about understanding how the author showed the character changing over time, and in integration of knowledge and ideas, it might be about learning about the character from the pictures and the words combined. Another thing about how they are organized is that they were built backwards from college and career-ready anchor standards. This should result in closing the gap between what students are taught in high school and what they need in college. It's helpful to follow a standard as it vertically progresses to the anchor standard. Checking the standard up a grade immediately above the standard, below the standard, and the college and career standard is generally enough to shape your understanding.
Oh, I see. That helps a little. Anything else I need to know?
Yes, you'll notice 3 big shifts in literacy. 1. A shift toward building knowledge through nonfiction and informational texts. 2. Reading and writing grounded in evidence from text. And 3. Regular practice with complex text and its academic vocabulary. The first shift, building knowledge through nonfiction and informational texts, should feel pretty natural for KCKPS. We have known for some time now that our students make more progress when we immerse them in nonfiction. The second shift, reading and writing grounded in evidence from text, should feel logical. We love having our students make connections to text, but we also know that these can get off base and the student could answer the question without having even read the text. The third shift, regular practice with complex text and its academic vocabulary, is the one that might feel more difficult. In education, we have been gradually decreasing the level of text difficulty that we've been putting in front of our students, and now we are trying to go back and build them up. Our on-track and on-time chart was adjusted last year to match the pace called for in the Common Core Standards. As we ask our students to read at higher levels, it's critical that we change our instruction to support them. They need the chance to be regularly immersed in complex text. We can model it through interactive read-alouds and through shared reading experiences. During our small group instruction, we need to truly watch what they can do and coach them. Finally, they need to be reading massive amounts of easy text to hone their skills.
So now I know what the Common Core Standards are, why they are important, how they are organized, and how they've shifted from some of our old standards. Anything else?
Yes. You will notice that a variety of text types are specifically called out, while students at all grade levels should be exposed to many types of texts and genres. Specific text types and genres have been added into the standards to ensure their coverage. It's important not to lose the meaning of the standard when this happens, as it is not the focus of the standard. You should also know that they do not lend themselves to being separated out for isolated instruction. In our pacing guide, the literacy standards have been divided into two categories: ongoing standards and PACE standards. The ongoing standards are standards that clearly cannot be paced across the year. The PACE standards have been paced to ensure that a student who moves from one school to another will not miss some standards. However, they should be thought of as a guarantee of what will be covered. They should not limit instruction to only those standards.
So I can't just teach the 5 standards that are listed on the pacing guide from this instructional window?
Definitely not. Also, a couple cautions to keep in mind. First, many publishers rush to label their products as aligned to the Common Core. In their haste, they often miss the mark. Reading the original Common Core documents will provide you with a plethora of information. Start there before buying anything new. Second, be sure to check for understanding around the PACE standards during an assigned window, but do not limit what standards you cover. Instruction should feel cohesive. Integrate instruction across subjects and standards when logical. These standards will allow teachers across the nation have a dialogue about instruction and share quality resources, as well as support parents and community members in knowing how to help. Much good can come from the Common Core Standards, but it's up to us to make it happen.
That's really inspiring. So am I getting new materials to teach with?
Well, no, not really. Our teachers found that in grades K through 2, if teachers kept the new standards in mind, then LBD could effectively be used to teach the new standards. In 3rd through 5th grade, the teachers created unit maps using LBD as a resource and other site-based resources to meet the new standards. The unit maps allow for much more autonomy than some of our previous resources.
What about assessments? Which standards will be assessed and when?
This year we developed the summative assessments with teachers using NWE's bank of items. Some standards had very few items, so not all standards will be assessed on a summative assessment. When compiling the tests, teachers try to juggle many factors such as quality and difficulty of passage, available questions for each passage, length of test, using a variety of text types, and standards that had already been paced. While none of us knows for sure what the new assessments will look like in 2014, we feel like these tests are a step in the right direction.
So only paced items are tested?
No. The ongoing standards often show up on summative assessments. Additionally, standards that have been previously paced often continue to be assessed. This supports thinking of standards as what students should know and be able to do by the end of the year. It helps some teachers to think of the summative assessments as a check-in on students' independent reading progress, rather than just an assessment to isolate specific skills.
But that's not how we do it at my school.
It's always good to analyze data, but remember, this is only one data point. It should be combined with many other sources to gain a picture of your students as readers. Did you have any more questions for me?
No, my to-do list keeps getting longer with each question, so I think I'll stop here.